friends, I'm back with another process video today. This one is for the FabScraps design team. I'm using this picture of my husband and I exchanging rings during our wedding ceremony. And I'm using the FabScraps collection C109. It's called A Moment in Time, and it's all obviously wedding related. So I'm auditioning background papers here, and the one I eventually settle on with the rings and the flowers in the lower left-hand corner is C109003, Lost in Love. Now I'm taking, that's the stencil that comes with the collection, the first one you saw me audition, that is DS098. And I do audition a few others from my stash before I go back to the smallest medallion on that stencil. It actually fits perfectly around the doily elements of the background paper. So I'm matting my photo on some of the smaller papers from the Carders pack. And that's Carders, like I'm making a card, CARDER''S. I like this because it comes with die cuts, which obviously are perfect for layouts. But I find I use that pack of paper for most of my layers, since I am a scrapbooker. Obviously, when you have smaller papers, the patterns are a little bit smaller. So it works really well when you're using, small pieces. I also like not having to cut up a whole 12 by 12 sheet for just a small portion, and I can use the smaller papers. Those papers are 8 by 8. In the pack you get 24 8 by 8 double-sided pages, 3 designs times 8 of each, and 48 die cut paper embellishments. So I used a couple of the papers, and then I'm trying to use the strips that were left from using them as layers to make some additional layers on my pages. You'll see I ran out of ATG there, so I am going to switch in a minute to a different kind of tape. I liked the layers. I used the pink and the lace under my photo, but I do go back to mounting that in black because I felt like it wasn't standing out enough off the page. So I just put a small border of the black around the whole thing, and then you could see all the different layers I had under there. So now I'm actually going to start putting my stencil down. Since this is the first time I'm using this stencil, I did grab a piece of paper out of my sketchbook, and I do 2 test, I don't know what you'd call them, test runs, I guess, of using the stencil. I do this because I find each stencil, I don't care if it's, all the same brand or what, each one reacts just a little bit differently due to the shape. So I always do a test. Now I am going to put these right around the circle part of the doily elements of the background page. And I keep a few of these in so you can see me do it, but I didn't make you watch me do every one. This is a texture paste, modeling paste, whatever you will call it, from Memento. I forget what the color is called, but I know I hold it up in a minute, so you should be able to see what it is called. And it's almost like a silver, but not quite. It's more, maybe iridescent white is a better description for it. Now I'm taking the pearls and gems from FabScraps, and I'm using them as the center of some of the flowers on my page. And while this doesn't look bad, and I liked it at the time, as I look at my layout now, I wish I had left it plain. Again, nothing wrong with it, just personal preference. I will give you a warning though. You see that comes in like a flower shape container. If you have small children, please repackage this. Learn from my mistake. I left it on my desk with the plastic lid on, which you can see in the upper right hand corner. And I have pearls all over my floor. And I wasn't actually around when it happened. My husband was with the kids. And bless him, he picked them all up off the floor. But now I have to resort them all. So I will be putting them in a container with a locking lid so that they are not accessible for little hands. So just a public service announcement. So now I'm going to do just a little bit more mixed media. I wanted just a little bit of color on the silver background paper. So I'm just going to take a couple of my gelatos. I look and see if the green, it's not really a green, it's like a turquoise green, matches the green in the collection, and it did not. So I went with the pink. And all I do is scribble some of it on the packaging, and then I use a mini mister to put some water on it. I combine it with a water brush and just smoosh it on the page. It's called, as far as I know, it's called the packaging technique. And it's about as mixed media as I get. But I really like the way it comes out. I marked generally where my photo was going to be with a pen, just a little dot, so that I knew which sides and how far out to have the mixed media come. Again, I don't leave this whole process in because you can, once you see it once or twice, you know how I did it. I did blot up some of the water to make the color a little bit lighter and to make sure there wasn't as much water on the page because I did not prime this with gesso. So now you can see where my pink is just faintly in the upper left and lower right. And I'm using some color shine to add some splatters to the page. I have a pink color that matches the collection. I believe it's called Blush, and then the gray I have is Tinsel. I like using my gray often because you want that grounding dark color, but you don't want the black. So here's where I switched tape since my ATG ran out. This is Suk Wang tape. I really like it. A lot of people call it score tape. I use this when I construct all my mini albums as well. It holds really, really well. I only grabbed it because I didn't want to spend the time getting and reloading my ATG gun while I was filming this video. So now I'm going to look at some of the die cuts from the Carter's pack, because I didn't want too much on the page since the flowers in the left-hand corner are quite a big embellishment in and of themselves, but I needed something on my photo. So I thought about that happily ever after, which ends up not making the page. I actually use that in another project, but I ended up making 2 tags. I didn't use the one that came in the little embellishment pack because it hid the patterns to, so much that it wasn't worth, I want to say, wasting them on tucking them in. I wanted them to shine. So I just took a tag from my stash and used it as a template to cut tags out of the scrap paper I had left from when I mounted my photo. I thought about putting twine in the tops of the tags like, one normally would, but I didn't have anything that was the right color, so I figured it was better to leave them empty than to have something that didn't match. I didn't have any black. I've been working on getting some black, but every time I order it, it seems to be out of stock. I had a pink, but it was way too bright. It was more like a hot pink, and then the softer pink I had was more baby pink, where this pink has more of a soft rose color to it. So I did end up leaving them empty. And then I just took some flowers from my stash. I ended up not using that large white one. It was A, too large, and B, the white was just the wrong color. It didn't match the white of the silver background. So I do have some smaller flowers in my stash that I layered up to make little clusters in the lower right-hand corner of the photo and the upper left. I do have a detail photo of those at the end, and you can see how many there are there and how well they work together. The glue I do use to adhere these down is that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I find it works really well. It gives me a few seconds wiggle room if I don't get something right in the first place, and then holds strong after that. So we're coming to the end, guys. You're just going to see me put these last little bit of flowers on. I hope you've enjoyed this process video. I hope you will head over to the FabScraps blog and see what all the other ladies are creating with these collections. And I'd love it if you would give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment about what you think of this layout, what you would have done differently, any suggestions you have, anything you'd like to see coming up. I always appreciate the interaction with you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.